Before we begin tonight's episode talking about all that has happened with EA and Star Wars Battlefront 2, we here at DNA just want to take a moment to remind everyone that, while it's incredibly important for our voices to be heard by developers and publishers, it is never okay to resort to threats of violence or death to convey our displeasure. Whether you think EA's decisions regarding Star Wars and its hero unlocks are egregious, or feel like everyone is just looking for something to complain about, it's important to remember that the developers, more often than not, are just like us, passionate about gaming and eager to provide the best experience possible. They are people too. It's easy to forget that when it feels like faceless corporations are ruining something you love, be it specific franchise or gaming as a whole, and while it is also easy to point out that the developers almost never have any influence over the types of decisions currently in the spotlight, that doesn't mean we should turn to threatening the executives who do either. Gaming should always be about bringing the people together and improving our culture. Thank you, and enjoy the episode. Woo!
Welcome everyone to our Black Friday episode. You guys are either watching this while you're standing in long, crazy lines, if we've been lucky enough to post it that soon for you all, or you're recovering from the mass amounts of calories that you consumed the day prior. Most likely the latter.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope you all had a good one. Our thanks we'd like to give is obviously having you guys watch this video, or even watching any of our videos, or even liking or subscribing or doing anything related to what we love doing. So thank you all for being part of our community.
That being said, today is not only is our Black Friday episode, but it's kind of a reflective episode of this past week in gaming news, or specifically Star Wars Battlefront 2 and EA, where what we're going to talk about today is not just about Star Wars and what EA has been doing and how it's being handled and what the internet and community is, how they're taking it, rather. We're going to go more in depth on our thoughts about microtransactions, certain things like that get into the gaming community, or that are part of the gaming community. Me, Eric the Dead, Gravity Well, and Locksteady, we all have similar yet slightly different views on certain things. We may disagree, we may not, we may agree, which is also not disagree. But this video is not something that we want you to take from as gospel. These are opinions. We're just trying to understand understand what's going on in light of what happened with all the information that we see. We don't know what's going on with the developers, how their brains are working or not working. We don't know how idiotic these people are that are putting these comments on YouTube or online or whatever. Not idiotic. I don't know why I said idiotic, but how their brains are. What is that face?
I'm just saying, they might be idiotic. Well, it's your opinion. You know, it could be.
But opinions aren't idiotic.
So I'll just be going to our politics then.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
For this episode, we're going to do a little bit of Star Wars. Hey, you already have 9,000 credits.
That's going to be a great thing to talk
about. Yeah. So during this episode, we're gonna play some Star Wars in the background. We'll be down in the bottom corner with our little picture down here. We're gonna be playing on the Xbox One. You're wearing all blue. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be playing on this on the Xbox One, which console debate can come later.
Xbox One X.
Xbox One X, the brand new Xbox One X. What is it, the first A edition or whatever? It's the Scorpio edition?
Project Scorpio. You can check out our unboxing on it. It's only a minute and a half long.
So gets the point across.
Yeah, it's not going to take up too much of your time.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I'm a little jelly. I wasn't really sold on getting a 1X, but after seeing the Project Scorpio branding, I'm a little mad I didn't get one.
It's nice.
But again, that's a conversation for another time.
Just check out the unboxing. You'll see what's different about it.
You can also head over to our channel and view other Let's Plays, unboxings. We have our weekly podcast or vodcast, whatever you want to call it.
Weekly Dosage.
The Weekly Dosage.
Which you're technically watching right now.
Yeah, this is a weekly dosage. You are required to take it, by the way. If you miss a dosage, you could have fatal consequences
Diarrhea.
of the butt.
I think they would
I like
know.
how we open this episode with a "Don't threaten people, but if you don't watch us, we're gonna get you."
I'm not going to get anyone.
That being said, let's get into some gameplay, and then we'll kind of get into our opinions.
You pass this to the pro.
Not really a pro, but
The pro will get in the currency,
yeah.
the credits.
So we'll start with some Galactic Assault, I guess.
So this game came out today for public release.
No, last Friday.
Well, we're playing it today. The opinions as of November 17th.
Yeah.
This is a pre-recorded episode. So
it came out today, November 17th.
Today, November 17th.
A
Last
week ago
week
from when you guys will be watching it.
Or if you're viewing this in 2037,
It was
Came out.
considerably longer than that.
20 years
And you
ago.
can unmute the TV, by the way.
I can unmute the TV now.
Yeah, because I would like to hear the television set.
So, again, things could change. The big controversy is with microtransactions and how that's influencing gaming culture. It has been around like that for years. People seem it to be getting worse, considering it gambling now is the new thing that's under investigation. And people just find it as an incredible unbalance to games. It's a pay-to-win scenario is what it's often referred to. My perspective on the immediate take of it is that if you want to pay for something to get ahead of a release of an item, by all means, take Candy Crush, for example. You're paying for extra hearts to beat the level that you're stuck on for the last 2 weeks. Is that cheating? Is that unfair?
That's for you to decide.
It's for you to decide.
However, our opinions are, I don't know if this is what you were getting to. My opinion, however, is I think it sometimes it makes me unhappy that you would pay to win. In games like this, well, maybe not this is a great example, but in games where you would purchase, you would spend real money to purchase a weapon or a character or something that is not unlockable but seems overpowered or unfair in some ways. That is what annoys me. If the items are not accessible otherwise. But
I mean, you mean behind paywalls, right? Like you can only get that if you spend real money.
correct.
So like DLC, like a new map you can't play until you buy it. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep.
I don't believe this game is that way, though.
No. I was saying that this may not be the example that I'm looking for. But games like that. And I also, second time playing this game, so I'll just do it.
Another example of recent games that had pay-to-win type things, or paid, I don't even want to say win, because just because they got that character doesn't make them better than you. That just
I
means
think
they
in the community, the term thrown around would be pay to win.
Right, that's the term.
Yeah.
But that's why I disagree with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think before we make a whole lot of commentary on how we feel about the subject, we should probably clarify exactly what happened and why we're talking about this for anyone who may not be in the know.
Yeah. So, you have the article, some of the information.
Yeah, it's loading pretty slow at the moment, but I feel like there's probably still a lot of traffic around this particular thing. So the conversation started amongst us originally when I don't know if you guys had seen it already, but when I stumbled across what was titled EA having the single most downvoted comment in Reddit history. Basically, a person who had pre-ordered the game went to Reddit to voice their displeasure at some things they had learned about the game prior to its actual release.
During beta.
Yeah, and so at the time, the user was complaining that they paid $80 for the special edition of the game, only to find out that Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader were his specific complaints. Actually, I think it might have even just been Vader.
I think it was Vader.
Vader was the highlight of the game.
At the time, it would require 60,000 in-game credits in order to unlock the ability to play as the character at all.
Which equated to about 40 hours of game time people were stating as an average.
Yeah, at the time that all of this started, That average was based on a typical accrual of about 250 credits per multiplayer match, and so ultimately it wound up being about 40 hours of game time, like Travis said. And so at that moment in time, this whole issue blew up because the immediate reply that EA put forth, I will actually read exactly as it is posted here. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course, attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. Now, while I don't feel that anything about that response was in any way out of line, I don't feel like it was necessarily pandering in any way. It does sort of, I don't want to say excuse, that's not really the right word, but it does sort of lend to the impression that EA just went, hey, we did research and this is what we came up to. If it changes, we'll let you know. And I feel like a lot of people kind of took it that way. And whether you take it that way fairly or not is really part of the debate we're kind of hoping to inspire in the community to take a look at it, search your feelings and, let us know what you think. But so, it all kicked off from that. The guy complained he paid $80 for the game, only to find out he would have to essentially play at least 40 hours for the privilege of playing as Darth Vader, to say nothing of what, ultimately became the cost in match to also play as the character.
Mind you, this was beta.
Yeah, this was still beta.
Mm-hmm.
The expectation from the community that was that what was in the beta at that time would be what was live, and effectively, I feel like this comment does reinforce that feeling. The EA comment does sort of reinforce that feeling. But what I think did get seriously lost in that is the guy did say that they're going to be reevaluating these things daily and making adjustments as time go on. But the initial aggravation, I guess, from the community was, I'm going to pay $60 or $80 for the game and then effectively have a week of full-time work just to get to play as one of the characters. And what I feel like a lot of people felt was that the alternative option was to just pay $12 to unlock Darth Vader outright, or whichever hero you choose. And so $12 is not a lot of money. Well, it can be, depending on your financial situation, obviously. But
and it can add up, too, when you're talking multiple characters.
Yeah, if you're just going to pay to unlock all the heroes, of course, it adds up pretty quickly as well. But, so the argument, or you could just pay the $12 to unlock the character, suddenly makes it seem like, hey, man, you can totally get this stuff in the game, but we're going to make it so hard to get that it's just going to make more sense for you to just buy it. And so that's where a lot of people came away feeling like this is now a pay-to-win situation, because these heroes aren't just cosmetic or aesthetic. They actually have better powers. And so the initial flack was, you have purposely made it so hard to unlock these characters through normal gameplay that the expectation is, you want us to just pay for them. And so that's where it all started from. And there have been some updates and changes since then. EA, within, I want to say, 2 days, came out and said, hey, we heard the feedback from the community and we have subsequently lowered the purchase cost of the heroes by 75%. And then there was some flack and pushback from that because apparently, quietly, I say quote unquote, because I don't know how well publicized this was, they also lowered the credit payout for completing the campaign by 75% as well.
You said they increased it?
No, decreased. I'm sorry. Decreased. They decreased. If I said increased, I didn't mean it.
I'm paying attention.
No, I know, but you made me paranoid. I have to double check myself now. So yeah, they very publicly announced, hey, we listened to the community and we lowered the buyout cost of the heroes by 75%. And then in what seemed like a very quiet way, also lowered the payout for completing the campaign by 75%. And what I didn't know at the time when I found that out, and what I feel like a lot of people didn't know at the time, was that decrease in payout was apparently only in the for completing the single-player campaign. There was no lowering of credit payout in the multiplayer at that time that I'm aware of. So while on the surface it looked like EA went, "Hey, we listened, gotcha." I don't know that that's necessarily what actually happened, but that is definitely the feeling the community had at the time. What was the next one after that? Oh, then there were announcements that a couple of European countries were setting their gaming commission to determine whether or not this game qualified as gambling because of the way the loot box system worked. And in the aftermath of that, EA has, as of the 17th of November, removed the loot box system from gameplay with the intent to reinstate it at a later date. Did I miss anything? Are we up to date at this point?
You're past what I've heard.
So, yeah, I mean that covers the hot topics as far as like noteworthy news for discussion.
Oh, there was one other thing, and I've been watching them play this for almost 2 hours tonight, yeah. And I haven't seen this happen once, but I did see some screenshots posted on various forums, Reddit and Imager and a couple other places, where players were encountering a credit timeout, basically, in the multiplayer, where after playing so many multiplayer matches, at the end of the match, when it would tell you how many credits you earned towards unlocking these heroes, rather than actually giving you any credits, it was saying credits will be available again in as little as 4 hours was the lowest one I saw, but up to 22 hours was one of the posts that I read, although I didn't see a screenshot from that. So
I personally think that was from the arcade game mode, which is against the bots, because you can actually earn credits in that game mode, but there is indeed a cap. That was public information.
Yeah,
and this even if it was multiplayer, this would not be the first game that capped you out. Going back quite a few years ago, Halo Reach, when that came out, as well as another one of the Halo games, I think it was Halo Reach, that online capped you. It had certain points that they wouldn't open up past until so many weeks into the game's release. It would stop you from leveling up. There were no advantages.
Which game was that?
Halo Reach.
Oh.
So look that one up. That is one of them that had a cap. You would stop earning experience points.
Now, if that's the case, if it is strictly the arcade mode in this case that has the credit cap, I think that's 100% fair. I don't think it's in any way.
Cheating.
Yeah, I don't think it's in any way fair for somebody to play against the bots and put them on easy and just train wreck bots the whole time until they've unlocked.
Just do a silly grind like an RPG.
Yeah, and then get in the multiplayer and just all of a sudden be able to wipe people out. I don't think that's fair at all.
Because it's easier to hack offline too, because it's not as trackable.
Yeah, and so
how do you authenticate that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of security systems in place for that, but you're right. The point is, there's a higher probability of it in the offline arcade mode than there certainly would be in the online multiplayer. And so, assuming that's the case, assuming that credit cap was strictly the arcade mode, which would make sense, I think that was really just an attention grab from some angry people in the community. I don't know that that's necessarily a valid complaint in any way, other than complaining about the microtransaction nature of unlocking stuff. But again, that's when you started expanding the debate. I don't think that's fair to necessarily freak out at EA or Star Wars or Battlefront or what have you over that.
And see, here's some of the things, your in-game battle points you can get. These are the characters we're talking about. Some are behind the locked wall yet. Over to the right would be your Darth Vader. If we go up one, 6,000 battle points. However, he's locked because we haven't had enough
cheaper than
credits.
Kylo Ren to play in-game.
Right, and that's it too. Kylo Ren is available if you have the
battle points.
Which
the battle points is not.
It's not your credits.
And it's
also
also
separate currency.
It's nothing that I'm worried about.
Now, battle points are strictly only
per match, right?
Per match. Battle points are per match. They
and you get awarded for doing well.
Right. It's just like a kill streak in Call of Duty.
Yep. Except for you can only activate it once you die.
Yep. You have to get that many points. Then you get that character to use until you die. Then you have to accrue that point value again. So it's not like everyone spent all their money on Darth Vader and is running around as Darth Vader the whole time. That's just not possible. That's not how the game was designed. So the whole pay-to-win mentality, that's where I think it's flawed, and where I go back to saying that just because you bought that character, you're not necessarily paying to win or guarantee wins.
Oh, I didn't agree with that.
You're getting use of that, but you still have to be somewhat skilled.
Yeah, I think it's worth not dwelling on, but at the very least acknowledging that from everything that I read, the initial complaint wasn't necessarily that it was a pay-to-win scenario based on any of that, but that players at the time felt like the amount of credits required to get that unlocked made it feel like it was specifically designed to push you towards the microtransaction rather than allowing you to
I understand, to some degree, that part of the argument.
I think a huge part of that argument goes away when they lowered the cost, though.
It's just the outcry for the pay-to-win. That's what bothered me the most.
Yeah, no, and I'll say that's perfectly fair. When we initially as a group had this conversation offline, before we even decided to shoot this specific episode, I said at the time, I don't find microtransactions to be, the worst thing ever implemented. I don't love them. I'm not happy about them.
Yeah,
but I think there's certainly worse things.
If it's not going to truly ruin my experience, then I don't care. Another great example was an amazing mobile game last year that everyone loved for a little while, and then people don't talk about it as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
That had pay-to-win items in it. You didn't want to go to a Pokestop, you could just buy more Pokeballs.
I think that's...
But that's an advantage because you can continue spending money and catching more, getting more lures, getting other things.
Oh yeah, never mind. I was sitting here thinking you don't have PvP, but I totally forgot about the gyms.
You do. You have the gyms.
I know, but I forgot
that's where it's a pay-to-win mentality, where it's truly pay-to-win. You're getting an advantage because you're spending extra money.
Yep.
I think the thing, from my perspective, specifically mine as an individual gamer, I recently started playing League of Legends at this guy here's behest.
Lol.
Yeah. And I think, though, whether I wind up continuing to play the game or not, I think League of Legends is actually a really, really solid example of how microtransactions can become part of the economy of gaming without ruining anything. And a huge part of where that comes from is that the game itself is free.
See, here's a great example. We're going to pause.
Yeah, the 250
this one match
from the original is already out the window.
335 credits earned. One match. Darth Vader is 15,000. If you do the math on this, that's less than 100.
Granted, you get more for doing well, less for doing not as well.
Yeah.
But
on average, it's less than 100 matches to be played.
To get one character. Which...
That's not awful.
Well, no. When this all first came up, I spent 2 solid days trying to convey to somebody who was only seeing this from the on-paper perspective how it could become a huge problem for, I don't even necessarily want to say casual gamers, but people who don't have the time to be, quote, hardcore gamers anymore either. And it was at the outset of this nonsense, when it was 40 hours to earn 60K for one character, it's like, on paper, okay, 40 hours doesn't sound that bad. It's not awful, it's doable, it's a grind, and it kind of sucks, but sure, you can pull it off. But the problem comes in when you start piling in all kinds of other things on top of it, in that, okay, so one night you can't play because you have familial obligations. That's, an extra X amount of hours that you got to throw on top of that before you get that character. You have internet troubles one night, you can't stay logged into the multiplayer, now you've lost more hours. There's all kinds of stuff that can pile up, and then it becomes even worse when you factor in that 40 hours was only one character. And again, I want to be clear that as of the time that we're recording this video, the reduction in cost to the characters was significant enough that I feel like that grind is no longer as big of a deal, even with these factors, as it was when this all started. But I think that was really the thing, is like, at a glance, yeah, 40 hours doesn't sound that bad until you start factoring in, I had to work late one night, or, we went out for dinner, or my internet was bad, or, Maybe you just want to play another game. Call of Duty World War II just came out. Overwatch just released a new hero. There's all kinds of things that can distract you from that. And so 40 hours is not that much if this is the only thing you're doing and you have 40 hours to dedicate to it, and you're only worried about Darth Vader. And to be clear, I'm not trying to say I disagree with where you're going, Travis. I just, I want to throw that out there as I think that was a huge part of the initial outcry, and I think a lot of it really was addressed by the reduction in hero cost.
The thing that we were talking about earlier too, off stream, off camera, was Battlefront is not yet a yearly title. It's not.
I hope it doesn't become one.
With this outcry and the reviews it's been getting, I don't think so. Plus, with EA and DICE, they're rotating this throughout their other games they're doing, so they have a good balance to their stuff. But we're going to look at 2 years from now, the progression that you make through this. You'll probably level cap your character. The DLC is going to be free for this one because of the microtransactions. That's why they did microtransactions, because it's more profitable for them
than to charge for
DLC. Which, honestly, I would rather have that way. That was always my thought process with microtransactions.
Yeah.
Let other people pay for my DLC to be free. I'm okay with that. I can pick and choose what to buy. And the bottom line to all my stance on all this stuff is, if you're really mad about it, just don't buy any of it and don't buy the game.
That's my stance on it.
That's a simple solution.
I mean, it was one thing when the initial outcry happened and everybody was complaining about how it put this huge wall up in place, and if you let that kind of behavior slide, then it becomes a slippery slope to other developers doing the same thing. And
there's certainly for years.
Sure.
That's why we're at this point having this conversation.
I think that's why it exploded so badly here, was
the
because of the high-profile nature of the property.
Yeah, this was the most anticipated game of the year, hands down. I don't care who you are. You were looking forward to this game or franchise in some form or fashion. And if you haven't seen Star Wars or you're not a fan of it, you're weird. Just kidding.
Let's just alienate the viewers.
But really, it's one of the most beloved franchises.
Yeah, and I really think that actually kind of unfairly made it a bigger deal than it should have been. Is the fact that it's Star Wars. If Call of Duty had done this, it would have also been a big deal, but only because Call of Duty is a blockbuster franchise for gaming. But I can't think of a low-tier example. If they did a Bulletstorm 2, and Bulletstorm 2 was like this,
first of all, do not Bulletstorm. That game is amazing.
That's something. We should do that.
How much sarcasm is coming out of you right now?
Zero.
That game was so glitchy.
So here's a game that lacks balance too, that millions of people buy every year. Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
So it's a game that you want to talk about rewarding your players for being good. That game rewards you for being good, and if you're not good, sorry. Only a couple rewarded you for being terrible. But people that's the best example of people putting hours into a game. They're willing, like you had said, obviously things come and go as far as your ability to play games. But people put a grind into how many prestiges, how many hours of Call of Duty just to get a prestige. And that's a game that's unbalanced because you unlock more weapons the more you level up. And they don't have it where there's a true ranking system where a level 55 is going to go against a 55. Those level 55s are going to go against your...
Oh, yeah, they're just in whatever lobby.
Nieces and nephews who just got it for Christmas.
Yeah, sorry about your bad luck if your first match is a group of 55s.
Right.
All right,
but whatever. I think... I don't know. Being someone who's played almost every Call of Duty, with the exception of World at War very much, there are guns that are more overpowered than others. But I feel like they're not so much overpowered that if you were to implement
2 shots, you're dead no matter what.
I would say it's certainly
I think it's more balanced.
Game-changing, but I don't think it's game-breaking.
Yes. You can have a gun that can outkill a lot of people, but if you're not good enough to use that gun, good luck.
Yeah, a great example is from what was it, Modern Warfare? Your level 50 was the 50 cal in Bertha.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that gun wrecked. You could take out almost anybody almost anywhere with a single body shot with that gun, if you could hit the guy.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. If you're a trash tier sniper, you're not killing anybody
I
with
wasn't
that
going
thing.
down an series.
I don't know what you thought you were doing there, buddy.
So, with that being said, like for balance of weaponry, let's relate that to this game. Oh, we're getting Han Solo. Balance. We've played for a couple hours now.
Yeah.
How is the balance?
Um,
You're a person who plays a lot of shooters.
Yeah.
Is this very welcoming? Is it difficult?
Yes. So I'm going to compare this to the first one.
First Battlefront?
Yeah.
The first or the reboot?
The
one right before this?
yes.
Okay.
Battlefront one for
A couple of years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago? Whatever.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So in that one, I felt like that one was less balanced than this one, for the simple fact that you pick up the things on the ground to get your Jedi or whatever, what have you.
So everyone rushed. For
So
the
everyone, yeah, and when you see it on the ground, everybody rushes towards it. Whereas this, you have to earn the battle points to get, to have a chance. Because, for example, if you look right here, this thing right here, these ATRT, it's 1,500 battle points, but not available in this phase because, well, this is a bad example, but in this phase you can't use this part. If it were like this, I don't have enough points, but if I had a slash through it, I wouldn't be able to use them because there's too many Lando Calrissians on the field.
Just a bunch of
I don't think
Landos
you.
around.
Yeah. My point is, you're all fighting for the same hero, but it doesn't take away from the having to like run around the map and search for it. You still have the ability. You all have the ability to get it, but it's just obtained differently. But I also felt like it was. I do feel like in this game or in last game that it was pretty unbalanced. I don't know. I'm like getting distracted by not trying to die. I don't know. I felt like it was just way more unbalanced with the whatchamacallit, the walkers and stuff. This you can only have a certain amount on the field.
Let's get 100 points for dying.
Yeah.
It's called sacrifice.
So, going back to talk about the first one, that game didn't release without controversy as well. I think it was more subtle, but the biggest complaint people had for that first one was a lack of content.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I
game
heard a lot of complaints
came
about
with
that game.
very
overall.
few game modes. It launched with no single-player campaign, no story, so it was
I cannot
strictly
make it.
online. The only offline was split-screen missions that you could do, which were incredibly short, like 5 minutes short. It unlocked things for Boba Fett's challenges as they progressed through the DLC, so you could get new weapons and stuff. But the first one launched with just bare-bones content. And then EA was like, you can get the 4 DLC packs for another $50. That turned me off of the game at launch. I did not buy the first one at launch. I actually waited a good 10 to 11 months to the next holiday season when they put the Ultimate Edition out for $20. So what people spent $110 on, I got for $20 because I waited 10, 11 months. I'm
Yeah.
not saying do that with this game because there's no DLC that's going to cost you anything for this. But
Yeah, I bought it on release, and I didn't buy any of the DLC for that reason. So by the time you bought it and started playing it,
it's a different game.
It was a different game, and I was already fed up and done with it.
And I absolutely loved it.
Because of that
I
lack.
had so much content. to
Yeah,
play
and that
with.
lack of content that I didn't have. Now, mind you, this is not a dig on EA, like as a company. This isn't supposed to be, because EA makes some amazing games. Battlefield 1, for example. I just noticed that Battlefield and Battlefront both have battle in front of. That's really funny to me. I don't know why. It's not like anything life-changing.
It's pretty funny.
But all the Battlefield series, I mean, I'm sure that people are like, there's going to be people that are always like, ugh, I have to pay this for DLC, or ugh, I have to buy a season pass.
Well, the
season pass thing is
the anger for EA for a lot of people originates from the last console generation. If you remember, probably about 10 years ago.
oh god, are you talking about the online pass thing?
Yes.
Oh.
360 PS3 generation. If you did not buy the games brand new from EA, you had to pay $10 for an online pass to play games online.
Oh, I remember that.
They had that for a couple of years, and then they did away with it.
It was really bad when it first came out, especially for us poor schmucks who were working at places like GameStop at the time.
We had to buy pre-owned.
Yeah, well, worse than that is the pre-owned copies of the brand new Madden, NHL, MVP, whatever EA Sports title were only $5 cheaper than the new one, and they didn't come with that online pass 9 times out of 10. And so then you
or
had to
some
tell,
schmuck bought the game for 2 days to trade it in, but they redeemed the digital content passes.
Yep.
Which is the online pass.
Mhm. Because there was no
Why?
guarantee you could even get anything but the disc for the pre-owned copy.
Yeah, why are you buying the game for 2 days, redeeming stuff, and then trading it in? That always just drove me crazy.
Yeah,
I did
I
get
never
lucky
did that.
sometimes where they didn't redeem it. which
Yeah,
was-
it definitely
was-
happened. It happened, but it was so bad working at GameStop during that period because you'd get mom or grandma come in to buy something for their kid or their grandkid or whatever for birthday, Christmas, what have you, only to find out the kid couldn't play online because they bought the pre-owned one, and then
They have to spend
angry
another
customer in the store.
$10.
Why didn't you tell me this? I didn't know. I don't know what you're buying it for.
Roger.
And that, of course,
Roger.
is absolutely no. You can't give that answer, and it's no consolation. But
See,
so the thing you guys were talking about a minute ago about the DLC for this game being free due to the microtransactions that will be implemented in this brings me back to what I was saying earlier about League of Legends being the ideal here, and it's
They do it really well.
League of Legends is free to play with a rotation of actual heroes to play. And
As free champions to play per week. So, for
Yeah.
example, they have over 150. Okay,
wow,
they have an upwards of 150 champions that you can play, different roles, different play styles. Some are current in the meta being the higher tier champions with the items that are available. But you get a free rotation of these champions every week, so you do have the ability to be like, oh, I really like Yasuo. How much is he? How much IP do I have to get? And you can go ahead and back to explaining it, but I was reiterating and agreeing that it is very awesome the way they do it.
Yeah. League of Legends came a little bit late to the game in terms of the microtransaction thing. They'd already long since been implemented before League came around, but I feel like League really should be the bar that a lot of these games that heavily implement microtransactions should be aspiring to.
Not necessarily being a free game.
Well, no, but in the fact that they give you the option to buy characters if you want with real money, or you can play the game and earn them separately if you want, or they also have the loot boxes which you can get from in-game currency, which can unlock a character right then and there too. You know what I mean? So it gives you multiple ways to interact with the ecosystem without being locked into paying for everything. And so, yeah, not necessarily free to play, but even if you don't emulate League 100%, carrying even 50% of the way that they handle their microtransactions is,
now
you're at least
another
going to be meeting some heavy expectations, I think. Blizzard does the same thing with Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. A whole ton of free content and stuff that you can unlock just by playing. But there's also stuff you could buy if you want.
Now, there's something in League that you can do in the same sense as credits would be in this game. You use these things called IP, or used to be IP, which is influence points, but now they kind of switched it up. But there is in-game currency that you can accrue. Oh, okay. You can accrue by playing games, either via bot games or player games, which you get significantly less doing bot games, but you still have the ability to get these champions. And you still do have the ability to purchase riot points and buy champions that way, but you can also buy things like skins and stuff. But that's primarily what the riot points are for, is skins. Since you can't use blue essence now, is what the currency is, but you can't use blue essence to buy the skins. You can only use blue essence to buy the champions, which I like. That they have different currencies, and the pay to play stuff is they make it more expensive enough so you really have to want that champion. Like some of the champions are upwards of $15, but you can get them via blue essence, the grind. But it's not like unreasonable.
I think that's which brings me actually to Overwatch is another great example of where microtransactions don't offend me. You
Well,
paid
it's all
60 or
cosmetic.
yeah, you paid $60 or $40 for the game, and there are microtransactions in it, but those microtransactions are purely cosmetic. You're not forced into paying for new heroes. But just like you were saying earlier with this game, those microtransactions fund that free DLC.
But you're
Overwatch
not
just
forced
released.
into buying those characters in here. I mean, you can get.
Well, no, I know.
But that's what people.
That's what I mean.
It's just this.
It's
This issue.
microtransactions by themselves. I don't think are necessarily that big of a deal, and I feel like this specific part of the discussion almost aggravates me specifically because of last generation's heavy dependence on day one patches and DLC to fix games. Destiny 2 is absolutely huge right now. Destiny 1 got huge again after it came out. When it first came out, it was hugely popular for a couple of months, and then a whole bunch of people got angry about it. But what wound up happening with Destiny 1 was when you bought all the DLC, all of a sudden the game got a ton better. You had to pay to fix it, essentially.
In that game infuriated me. I vowed not to get the sequel because of it. I did anyways.
But so that's what I mean. If we could have essentially had this conversation a decade ago, except it wouldn't have been microtransactions. It would have been paid DLC,
Right.
Because everybody got all mad about just put it in the game. Why can't I just get it? I paid $60. Why do I have to pay another $20?
That's honestly that right there is what got me mad with Destiny.
Some of the DLC was on the disc.
Yes.
That's
That
what made
is
me
not
irritated.
okay.
Yeah, and they did that a lot. And that's why I say that this conversation now, where everybody wants to act like microtransactions as a concept are somehow insanely, to use the word again, egregious. Like it's just this slap in the face.
It's not microtransactions. It's putting content behind a paywall.
Well, yeah, but a
That
lot
is
of people got
unattainable.
mad at this.
Unless you
At this
pay.
situation, got mad at the fact that microtransactions were included at all. When the righteous anger was about the difference between the grind to unlock it by playing versus being able to pay $12 to get it right away.
It's obtainable. That's the difference in that though. Like with Destiny, having it on the disc that you had bought, you'll have to spend $35 more to get part 1 and part 2 of your first expansions that didn't have a date yet. But they're on the disc and they're just unlocks. People found this in the coding of the game.
Mhm.
You could stumble upon it. It was literally a barrier that blocked you from going into a new region.
Yeah.
And then that little kilobyte unlocked that invisible game wall. That's when it's not okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. And making a game pay to win through microtransactions also not okay. But the distinction that the parallel I'm trying to draw and the distinction I'm trying to make with it is that crap like on-disc DLC is bull. If it's on the disc, don't charge me extra to play it.
You can
You're
make
literally
it.
ripping me off at that point.
Now, what I don't care
Actual
about
DLC is fine.
is if you have
If
it
it's
on the
new
DLC.
content.
That is, if you have the DLC on the disc, go for it. Just when it comes to release that content, don't make me pay for it, like you said. But still, it's.
I mean, at that point, it's a matter of time to release content.
I'm never gonna get to be Ray or
It's
anybody.
just not going to happen, man. But so that's ultimately my point. Is like pay to win is bull crap, And locking content behind a pay when it's technically already there and accessible, also bullcrap. Why are you getting...
I don't know.
Because that's outside of the zone. You have to be defending from inside. It zones you
okay.
as they proceed closer to the...
So they get to be wherever because they're getting into the zone.
They're infiltrating and taking
Got it.
advantage. Yeah.
So yeah, paid DLC was a huge uproar a decade-ish ago when it didn't... The argument at the time was don't release the game if it's not ready to go, but then the other side of the argument really was, you can add a lot of real valuable content through these paid DLCs, and somebody's got to pay to make that, and it's less expensive to add paid DLC than it is to release a whole other game, both for the developer and publisher and for the consumer. But so when you wind up in situations with microtransactions turning into what they're doing here, and like what they do for Overwatch and what they're doing for League of Legends, the microtransactions that you don't necessarily have to partake in do fund that continued development otherwise. And the way they're doing this, like you said earlier, is exactly what Blizzard does with Overwatch. They just released a brand new hero at no charge to anyone this week. And it is, what, the 4th new hero? 5th? I don't know, I've lost count at this point. What was the first one? Holy crap. Sombra was the second one, right?
Anna.
Yeah, Anna was the first one. Then there was Sombra, Doomfist, and now Moira. Oh, and Orisa. So 5. Yeah, there's 5 whole new characters they've added to Overwatch at no charge to anybody. And you can guarantee that a huge chunk of that development cost was paid for with people taking advantage of the microtransactions for purely cosmetic items. I'm not going to pay $20 for the possibility of unlocking a bunch of skins, but if you want to, great.
We've completely skipped over another developer that has done an amazing job with microtransactions and funding their games. This probably is the epitome of the best developer out there for this. Rockstar. GTA Online.
Yeah, holy crap.
The fact that we haven't mentioned them yet.
I completely forgot.
Yeah,
I haven't played GTA in forever.
So GTA, 75+ million copies out there. GTA Online, free service. Microtransactions galore for weapons, vehicles, cosmetics, apartments. You don't have to buy it. You can earn cash by winning races and doing things, but you can also spend real money to get that stuff. And it's all purely cosmetic. Because
not purely. There were a bunch of weapons and cars.
But there are game modes that restrict certain cars anyways.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't take a helicopter, a certain one into a race and just blow up all the other ones. There's restrictions.
Yeah.
But that, it's
okay.
It's amazing to see what that came from, too. If you remember when it launched on the 360 PS3, GTA Online was broke as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It launched 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the game. It wouldn't register and be stable as far as your character.
God, the first day that it went live, I had to do the stupid tutorial race
multiple times.
Literally no less than 10 times because it would glitch. Either partway through the race, or I couldn't get in my car, or I would complete the race and then I would think I was good, but then I'd get kicked offline for some reason, and I'd go to log back in and I'd have to do the whole freaking thing all over again.
Get kicked
it
offline?
Was so busted.
I had rushed, too, before the launch of Online to complete the story. I actually 100% of the game before Online launched on the 360. And then when I was done, I did everything.
Is that lightning?
Yeah, it was raining earlier.
So, for me, it was like the only thing I had left to do was Online. But, long story short, they've re-released the games on PS4, Xbox One. It's on PC, right?
Yeah.
Not a big PC gamer, sorry guys. And they've done an amazing job. You hear really nothing negative.
Other than people are like, when is Red Dead coming out?
Well, yeah, they want Red Dead on. They want Red Dead Online.
That would be super.
It will be.
Yeah, it will. I dumped so many hours into so much stupid stuff in Red Dead Redemption's online mode. me and Kevin actually spent probably 4.5 hours one night just hunting legendary creatures out in the wild, not killing anybody, not killing each other. Although it did turn into that randomly, and it was one of my favorite moments from that game ever. We were out hunting one of the legendary bears, and we were doing it in a public lobby because that's what you did then. And these 3 other guys just rolled up out of nowhere and started sniping us. And it was 3 against 2, but after about 15 minutes, they quit because we wrecked them so bad. And then we just went back to hunting bears.
Oh God.
No Darth Maul, no Darth Maul.
Did you just kill Darth Maul?
You just wrecked Darth Maul, is what you did.
That shotgun's OP, bro.
A little bit. Not OP against them robots, though.
Robots.
Robots. I'm so close to getting Ray. Oh.
So we haven't played any campaign yet. This isn't really a review discussion, but I just want to talk a little bit more about the game. We don't really do reviews yet. Might be something we venture into.
Yeah, I feel like we all do that at some point.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun for each of us to branch off and do certain games. Maybe that'll be your thoughts. Who do you want to see review what? But
If people watch it.
honestly, between the 3 of us, we have a PC, console, and console expert. So, but from what I hear, the campaign itself was somewhat a letdown from other reviewers. It was about 5 to 6 hours long. The story didn't fulfill the promise they said. Again, this is just reading other reviews. I have no opinion. And a lot of the reviews are giving it an average of between 6 and 8 out of 10.
Oh, he got the
Shotgun's OP, man.
So I've seen stuff give it a 6.5. I've seen stuff give it 7s. I've seen 8s. You got Yoda.
Yup. It's about to get real.
Oh, that's
I'm
sweet.
sorry, guys. I don't know why I said that way.
We're all in awe right now of Yoda. Oh, that's cool. Why does it take so many hits to kill though? You should be able to slice through him in 1 hit.
Yeah, for real. I was watching you play earlier, and somebody else was Yoda, and I watched him popping around, and I got a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
I still got.
I love that they don't die. They just kind of lay down.
Oh, the champions.
Yeah, just sort of. What was
Is that
I
Wookiee
saying?
missing an arm?
But yeah, so reviews have
Have
been
not
lower,
been stellar.
but I honestly, my opinion is because of the controversy in the end. People don't want to reward it a high score because so many people are angry, and they'll lash out against those websites.
You know what I think is really interesting about it, though, is the single player campaign almost seems superfluous. Like, I'm not saying nobody bought it for the single player campaign, but like,
Well, I don't think it influenced any more people to buy it.
yeah, let's be real here. Nobody
I think it was a nice bonus.
bought this game so that they could play some made up new character on some little tidbit of campaign that takes place at some indeterminate point in the timeline. They wanted to blow each other up. That's sort of the point of the
They
series.
wanted to be a Jedi.
And 95% of the people's time is going to be spent online.
And I think that was going to be true no matter what.
But honestly, like, I was excited that they were going to do a story because of the ideas that were pitched. It was going to bridge 6 and 7.
What I like,
And it's from the other perspective. It's from the Imperial side.
what I think was good about putting a story in this game was a couple things. Because you had that such a lack of content in number 1, adding the story just adds another layer to the people who are like, oh, I'm not very good at online.
It added value to the $60.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That, and this game is so beautiful.
Yeah, I
That
can't
you-
stress that enough. Holy
Look at that,
crap.
385 credits.
Nice.
Like, it's the game. I'm gonna back out real quick. The game is so pretty that you have the ability to, within a single player campaign, to add memorable moments
Big
and
set
add
pieces.
like
And that's what they said was lacking in some of these reviews.
well, you just whether or not they executed it, different story.
That's
But you have more of an ability to control what the player sees.
Right.
If you want them to see a TIE fighter crashing through a building and just bowling over a bunch of what are they? The droids. Are they just called droids?
Oh yeah, most of them. I'm sure they have some other.
The robots.
The droid echoes?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they're called?
Roger,
Someone
Roger.
correct me.
Roger.
I want to say they're droid echoes. Someone look that up. Confirm it.
But you just have look. You already have enough for Darth Vader.
See, look at that. We've had this game.
We've been
for
playing it
2.5 hours.
We've been playing it for from 8 to like 8:40, so 40 minutes, and we've been playing it for an hour here.
So 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
give or take.
I mean, granted,
2 hours game time.
Granted, you had some pre-order bonuses that gave you some credits, but that was only like 2,000 credits.
So honestly, I would say a 2.5 hour average would get you Darth Vader. 2.5 hours.
Maybe, depending on how good you are. Maybe it definitely won't be 40 hours.
No,
you might if you're not good enough, you
way.
might spend an 8-hour day trying to get Vader. But point is, we have 15,000 credits, enough to get Vader. I'm going P. Oh yeah, booyah!
Should I buy Vader? Just to prove
do it on stream or do it on video.
So-
I'm gonna stand here and watch it.
So this hero's locked. We got Chewbacca is 10,000.
Is Vader the most expensive?
That's
What
what I'm
about-
checking. So Boba Fett's unlocked. Bossy unlocked. Chewbacca is 10,000. Darth Vader's 15. Kylo's unlocked. Item is 5,000. And Solo's unlocked. 10,000 for Palpatine.
About Luke.
Lando.
Luke
Princess
should be 15.
Leia is 10,000. Luke is 15.
So Luke
So
and Vader
Luke
are
and
both
Vader.
15.
And that's it. That's so you got what?
Apparently, they're just called B1 battle droids.
What's the droid echoes then?
I have no idea.
Might be the ones that were that
Oh, the
rolled.
rolling things and
Yeah.
the gun.
Yeah.
Those. Yeah.
Unlock them. So I want to
Um,
beat the camera.
2, 4. There's 6 characters. So altogether, let's do some math. 15, 25, 30,
Yep, the rolly ones with the
45,
shields are the droid echoes.
55, 65,000 credits.
65,000 credits to unlock all the characters. Where before it was 60,000 for Vader itself.
So
So
that's
you're
not
talking
terrible.
arguably about 6 to 8 hours if you do as well as we've done today.
So you want to do the honors?
Yeah.
You did the work.
Sure.
We get invited.
We're getting Vader. We have Darth Vader. There you go, guys. That's not. Come on. Just go
That's
buy
not
Battlefront
that
2.
Yeah.
Seriously, the game is.
It is unbelievably gorgeous.
We've already mentioned how good looking the game is.
And I mean,
But-
it is a
But the
first.
gameplay matches the visuals.
Yeah.
It's just as fun to
Yeah,
play as
really.
it is to watch.
It really
It's
looks
fun
like
to
it.
play. It is a first-person shooter. It is fast
Well,
paced.
technically,
So
it could be third or first.
that's right. You
Yeah,
can
you
switch
pop
up.
the camera
You can
out.
switch. So if you hate first-person shooters, just switch to third person. We'll show it in the next match.
Yeah. After I come back, you guys can talk. I'll be right back. But yeah, get it.
So now
I
we
think
can.
actually this. I'm glad you let me play this because I was on the fence because of all that crap. I mean, I'm gonna get it. Why are you mouthpiecing?
Can I show you?
I'm sure you know.
So I can craft
He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a job.
cards here.
Whose fault is that?
His works for
Bro, do
him
some
falling?
surveys.
Yeah, dude. I got $30 coming to me from Swagbucks.
Yeah, I
Oh my
signed
god,
you.
that is so not the point. I share stuff with you all the time, you turd. Go pee.
No, I mean yes.
So it looks like you can level up these characters too.
What's that
So, we don't know what this does yet. You can change his emotes. It doesn't look like I don't have that. Because they're available in crates.
do? Which we don't have access to.
We don't have access to that.
Womp womp. How long have we been going?
I don't know.
I feel like
probably
this
an
is
hour.
going to be a long episode. Which is fine.
It's Black Friday. Gives them something to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh god, cut it off.
Card level 25. So you level up your character cards too. I wonder how you do that. So not only do you have to unlock the character, you have to level them up to unlock aspects of the character. There's a lot of depth to this design. And I wonder how this will change as the game goes on. I wonder if that stuff will be tweaked. Because here's the thing. It's an online game. A year from now, it's going to be different than what it is at this very moment. And we'll look back and we won't even care.
What are we talking about?
As you unlock the characters,
See, there's levels here. Level 25. Also available in crates.
Huh.
So, victory poses. Let's see what else we have. Time challenges. So,
oh no, the other ones aren't time challenges.
50 crafting parts. So let's unlock that.
50 assault kills. Go down there.
So we got more up at the top there. Those are crafting parts. A280 and 200 credits. Okay.
What's the difference between the credits and the crafting parts?
Crafting is for things. Credits is for unlocks. So collection.
Go back to. How'd you get back to what you were just in?
Career.
Okay, because I think we had a couple in here, maybe.
I already redeemed these.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Collection.
You can see because it's got the little.
We have a little arrow. Go down to equipment.
Let's see. Oh,
so we unlocked. That's what we unlocked. So we unlocked a new gun,
which I will gladly equip, and I
Call
will
of Duty with Heroes.
modify it. Oh, I can't modify it. Let's modify it. Oh, I can't modify that because it's the initial gun. So let's
check out that third person stuff.
Yeah. Well,
so just like the first game, it's launching.
Oh, you won't do that.
Oh, yeah. So it's launching with just a few game types. As we see here, 5. So the other one ended up having somewhere around 16 game types.
After all the DLC?
Yeah. And honestly,
Misa no like da da.
What is it called? Rogue One. The content that they did for Rogue One in the first game was awesome. And you were restricted.
Rogue One content in the first game?
Yeah, it was one of the last DLCs.
That would make sense.
It was the planet at the end where they're all...
I haven't seen it.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Anybody get all spoilery? It takes place before...
I still haven't seen it.
Episode 4.
So?
Guess what? They get the Death Star plans. You know
I didn't say anything.
I don't know what was going on in the movie. I know nothing about it.
Episode 4, New Hope.
Yeah.
That's the story of how they get the plans.
Well,
Don't spoil anything else for him. It was a really good flick, though.
I'm not spoiling anything. That's known material.
Yeah,
not to me.
You know they got the plans. You know it takes place right before.
Yeah, actually, that was in the trailers. I mean, that's
the 0 trailers that I've seen.
Okay, that's your fault.
It's not my point.
Oh my god.
Anyway, the point is, it's a good flick. You should see it.
Wow.
I just haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. Jesus Christ.
I'm not shocked. I'm just a little surprised.
I'm shocked.
It was super good.
I didn't say I didn't want to see it.
I was actually really surprised at how good it was.
Anyways, the last part of that movie is the map that they're on, and it's gorgeous. So
that seems sort of dark.
Yeah.
Without saying anything further on the subject.
Yeah, but it's so awesome. It's one of my favorite maps to play in the game. But yeah. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got it close, man.
We need a movie night soon then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Because you need to see that. You've seen The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I saw that opening weekend.
Did you tear up?
I didn't tear up. I was just like, oh, man.
I didn't either.
I exclaimed out loud. I was like, a muffled, no! Like, loudly when the theater was quiet.
It was quiet is probably right.
Quiet.
Silently crying.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it was...
It was rough. I shouldn't say I didn't. I teared up a little bit at Force Awakens, but Rogue One, I flat out cried.
See, I didn't.
I can't do this third person thing.
I knew.
You know, as dumb as I'm going to sound for admitting this, I didn't. I did not know that was how it was going to go. Or you know what I mean?
I was like, it's the only way to win.
We'll have to. I mean, I understand that now.
That's what I knew. I was just kind of like, this is how it goes.
It makes sense. I wasn't confused.
But that's
But
why
I was surprised.
I didn't love it as much as everyone at first because of that. I'm like, I know all this. I know that was going to happen.
I thought you weren't doing the third person anymore.
I don't know how to turn it back off.
You hold down.
Hold down.
Yeah, just hold down.
Hold down and switch the two sides.
And then you hold up. It's one of them. You have to hold it down though. And then it switches. It's just like the other one. Boop.
I don't remember that one. Okay.
Hey.
He's holding down. Is that?
That was fine. Coughing.
Yeah. So we wandered pretty far off topic there for a minute.
Yeah.
With a lot of topic.
I'm gonna go check on him real quick.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't personally feel like microtransactions are the devil. I am pretty deeply against the pay-to-win philosophy.
I agree.
But I feel like just in the time that we've been doing this and unlocking Vader while we sat here, sort of proves that it really isn't. I think
Well, and then
earning
again,
the 15,000 credits that we did in the course of time today does show that it would not necessarily have been an insurmountable grind then either at the 60K mark, but it would have been way worse than it is for sure.
yeah, it's coming down.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Is he right?
We'll do it.
Just coughing.
For sure.
He's got to get his tonsils removed.
That'd be
Yeah, they say it takes it like 75% of his throat. So he's got that.
So he's gonna get a.
Oh, what the fuck is
He's gonna
that?
get a Darth Vader-esque reduction.
Yeah, pretty much. He use it though.
Yeah. No, I mean, and who knows? Maybe between now and when this video comes out, some other shenanigans will occur, and maybe we'll have to,
Do an update.
do a follow-up or something. But,
I'd be interested to see with it being the holiday week if they're going to have any more updates because they're going to want this game to sell. I think they're going to keep their mouth shut.
I feel like if they wanted to sell, they shouldn't necessarily be quiet. But they should probably not screw with it any more than it is right now.
And I think
as I was saying to Eric,
I think
while
that's
you
what
were
they're going to do
gone-
until the dust settles.
Yeah, as I was saying to Eric while you were gone, being able to sit here and unlock Vader right now, I think, really shows that, wherever things might have been based on the beta data, beta data, it's not that bad now. It is absolutely not an insurmountable grind. We did it incidentally sitting here tonight,
Yeah, it wasn't even our focus.
Yeah,
No.
it totally just by
What was that?
happenstance.
Somebody take
It was
him
that crazy guy,
Yeah, but how do you take him out?
probably with another ship.
Oh, I can just use an LMG.
You can do that too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think what EA was trying to do all along was alleviated, or I think, I don't want to say misunderstood, because I think they kind of did want to prey off of people for microtransactions, but part of me,
It's all a money game. Let's be real here.
it is, but I think part of me actually they thought they were doing something right, no matter how stupid or idiotic whatever it was, or whatever their thought process behind it was.
Yeah. What's the yellow bar there?
It's
Is
just
that
a
like
slower.
super extra damage.
No, that's not even extra damage. It's just your cooldown of your gun.
I think you get a second
Oh.
chance to do that.
It just reloads faster or cools down faster. Roger, Roger.
I mean, I kind of covered my initial thoughts in this week's,
Yeah.
opinions. I don't have a lot more to add to it, really.
No, I think we've pretty much said all there is to say at this point, I guess.
I mean,
We started from a point where I felt like people had a legitimate concern in the way the information was presented. Whether or not that presentation was accurate is still up for debate, I guess. But I feel like when this all broke, there was a legitimate concern. But in the ensuing days and all the updates and changes they've made, I feel like whether people want to admit it or not, the big bad wolf mended its ways. A lot of people want to crap on EA all the time, and for some people it's a legitimate complaint. For some people it's you just gotta hate somebody because they're doing better than you. Wherever you fall in that range, I feel like if you can't admit that the updates they made to this game at this time legitimately addressed the problem that this situation started off as, I don't think there's anything to help you. I think you're just willfully hating EA to hate EA at this point.
Yeah, so really my final thoughts are educate yourself on the topic, see if it truly affects you as a gamer directly before you go out and buy this game. If it doesn't, if you don't care about the need to spend money or not spend money, you don't care about unlocking characters faster or slower than anyone, you just truly want to play a good shooter that's Star Wars, this game's for you. So you may just want to kind of earmuffs to all the hate, or at least read up on it and understand different perspectives, but don't let it
cloud your judgment.
Cloud your judgment on a fantastic game that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll be really honest. At the outset, I really had no intent of buying this game. I heard a lot of really bad things about the first one, and with everything that came around about this one as it was coming out, I was pretty much ready to write this one off too. But after watching it get played so much tonight, I'm kind of on board. I kind of want it myself now.
Yeah, it's So I want to pose this question to you guys.
Us guys?
Use guys.
Okay.
If they were to implement into this Kylo run. If they were to implement something in this game, kind of like how League of Legends does their stuff, their free championship rotations, but instead of giving them the whole free, instead of making them a free rotation, what if they were to do something that was it's cheaper for you, or no, you can use it, but it's more expensive battle point wise, in game.
So instead of having to pay the $15,000 to unlock Vader and then $6,000 to play him in the match, you just had Vader, but it cost.
You had one free hero. So for example, maybe this week was Vader. You can play as him. You just have to pay more.
Isn't Heroes and Villains? We haven't tried it yet. But
no, Heroes and Villains depends on what you have unlocked.
Okay.
Because that was another thing that came up when somebody was trying to be angry about this whole situation.
Oh, Ray!
Oh, right in the
face! Ray, go away!
No, you done something.
What the fuck?
Oh, that crazy guy's coming for you.
I got stuck on something.
Yeah. That crazy guy.
Honestly,
anyway, dude posted that he got into a Heroes and Villains match finally and couldn't even play because all the heroes that he had unlocked had already been selected. So it does depend.
Oh, he couldn't play at all?
Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't play the mode because every hero he had was already selected.
I mean, I don't know.
And that is frustrating.
I get that.
I don't blame the developer for that because it's a specialized mode.
Right.
I'm willing to let that one go.
After playing tonight, though, really, my opinions, just play and you'll unlock someone. It's not as long as we thought.
Yeah. I mean, he had, I think, 3 heroes unlocked in the screenshot, but all 3 of them had been picked by other people. But again, I don't fault the developer for that because it's a special mode. It's, play the regular game, unlock some more heroes, get back in there and try again. Right. Yeah, it sucks you got into a match and couldn't actually play it. I get that's frustrating, especially if there's a queue, but, it is what it is. No, get out of here, dude. Oh, yeah, what up? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, no. So if I'm following your example correctly, Darth Vader is free this week, so you don't have to pay the 15,000 to unlock him. But in battle, instead of being 6,000 to pick him, it's say 10,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the distinction.
Yeah.
I think that would be totally fine. And especially if they implemented something like that as a permanent fix. I think at that point everybody should just shut up.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, honestly, I'm not familiar, obviously, with the rotation. I don't play well, but I get the perspective. But I'm not mad, or I don't mind.
Well,
the
I was
setup.
more thinking
Right, as a solution.
as a solution for everybody who is.
But I don't hate the way it is now. But I know
Oh, I don't
that's
either.
mine.
I don't
Other
either,
people
not anymore.
do, but after
No.
seeing it,
After
playing.
watching it go this far, or watching it go tonight, it's fine the way it is now. I think.
and there's only 6 characters we counted
Yeah.
as of right now.
Mhm.
Okay,
And that crazy guy just ruined everybody.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can get into a Heroes and Villains match.
I think we can
Maybe
play
this
with
one.
that.
Yeah.
So I think we're pretty much winding down.
Yeah, I think we're in the home stretch here.
Yeah, we'll end with Heroes and Villains, and
So
wish you all. You know,
Happy belated Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
technically.
yeah.
Load.
Go, man, go.
And truly, put this on your Christmas wish list. Don't let this be the last Star Wars game we see for how long again. This, I'm sure, is not an easy IP to come across anymore.
Yeah, especially. Well, I don't know. I feel like the more popular something gets outside of gaming, the more prevalent it becomes inside of it. I think
But
if
as far
we
as
were,
a backing from a developer like this,
I think that was true before. I think it's less true now.
Mhm.
I understand 100% where you're coming from historically. But
it's just what was the last good Star Wars game that we got was Force Unleashed.
because it was not Force Unleashed 2.
No,
It wasn't terrible, but it didn't
didn't
live
live
up
up.
to the first one.
and then we had that
Before that, it
Connect
was.
one.
It was Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64.
That was a fun game.
Let's just be clear.
That was fun.
What was the
Rogue
Jedi,
Squadron was good.
Jedi Academy?
Was that the
I mean,
Connect one?
if
There was the Connect one.
no, that was just Connect Star Wars.
Yeah, that was
And
good.
I was gonna say, if you're trying to tell me that was good, I don't know if I can beat this out anymore.
I did like the custom 360 that was like R2D2.
I have that one, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I liked that.
See, I couldn't
Somebody
be.
traded it in when I was working at GameStop, and I really wanted to buy it.
You should have. Did you open the disc tray?
Yeah, because it has sound effects. That's why I wanted it.
Well, not just that, but it's the only 360 that has something written on the disc tray.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Why didn't I buy it? Because I worked at GameStop. And you know how much. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yep. Let's do, because that's a topic for a whole.
Look how cool that
episode.
looks.
That is pretty BA. What's
Okay.
happening right now? Oh, poor Han Solo. You are so outclassed right now, friend.
And Boba Fett.
Yeah, but Han Solo is the best.
Like, I feel like this alone is the reason. Oh, that's not.
Are you in third person on purpose, or did it? not
The
do
heroes
that?
Heroes are always first person.
Oh, okay.
So you can admire their awesomeness.
Oh, buddy.
Oh my God.
You got wrecked.
All of them went in on me.
Yeah.
God, it's so cool. Let's try Bosk. I mean, why not? You're.
Was he just one of the other bounty hunters?
Yeah.
Don't even remember this character. And I'm not ashamed of that.
He's in the cantina. He also meets Jabba's palace, I think, at one point. I could be wrong.
What the hell?
For you bigger game nerds, you probably know. Or Star Wars nerds, you guys probably know more.
Yeah. Did you just go Predator mode?
I think I did. Oh, I can't change.
Somebody else must be.
No, why would they change off the Jedis?
I don't know.
Give me with fucking gunslingers over here. It's just me and the guy who's playing Han Solo are like, oh, come on, guys, let me play. I want a lightsaber. I want a game, too.
How come you couldn't play as Vader?
Because somebody else picked him.
That's, okay. Oh,
Holy
buddy.
cow.
It's about to get real bad for you in a second, I think.
He's just blocking
Predator
the
mode.
shots.
Yeah.
Predator mode. Predator mode.
I don't think that's going to do anything.
Come on, guys. Let me be a guy.
I feel like you probably got to go Predator mode before they see you, friend.
Probably.
Why is it not letting you switch?
I don't know. I don't know that part. Arrgh. Hey, I can see him.
I bet you're not actually invisible. I bet it just gives you the ability to see where they are through walls and stuff. Just allowing grenades? You just killed Shaq's big toe. Oh man. How's he gonna dunk now?
What are they doing? That's just really incredibly epic right now. Just seeing them stand next to each other.
Yes, seriously.
Oh,
No, Han, get off me. Get some Yoda.
I can punch too, god damn
You
it.
know who they should have?
What? What are you thinking?
You know who they should have as a hero? That one stormtrooper. I forgot his name.
Traitor?
The one that has the badass.
Trader Joe?
Yeah,
Weapon?
they just call him Traitor on the
Is
internet.
that okay?
TR41T0R, I think.
Yeah, that should be a character in my. So I would spend 60,000 credits.
No, that's right, buddy.
He's so small. It's like playing his odd job. Goldman.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're invisible.
I wasn't, but I was. But I get my. Oh, come on, Vader! What are you doing?
Vader, no.
Oh, Ray, you did, girl.
Oh, that was awesome!
What do you do?
He threw his lightsaber at Han Solo and killed him.
Well,
Jesus.
good. It looks like I would have to rewatch that one.
It's a classic Vader move.
Hey,
I think
can't
that's
believe
the whole. That was
Hi guys.
kind of awesome. 3 dudes come running up the stairs and I just heard blah, 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 blah.
Oh my god, this epic lightsaber battle in the stairwell.
Got him. Suck it, Shax's big toe. Got it. Suck it, Shax's big toe.
Like this right here. Why would you ever be sad or angry about what just happened there?
Oh, this
This
is so
this
good.
is the reason to get this fucking game.
Seriously. Here he comes. He's coming to you, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, what?
What?
He's
Oh,
force
yeah?
choke.
Oh, he was! He was getting force choked. I gotta calm
Oh,
down.
yeah.
I'm sorry. That was awesome. You're up, Yoda. I don't know why I keep saying me like I'm the one doing it. Just so invested.
I don't want to be like, oh! I can't. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Oh, you got robbed. You were so close.
It's okay. I'm liking this guy, actually.
No, you're not.
I am. He allows grenades as his ult thing.
I mean, you can like him all you want, but you know you wanted Kylo.
Well, duh. Doesn't mean I don't have to dislike this guy. I got Hank Stumperton. Take that, Hank Stumperton.
But then you got kicked by Shaq's big toe.
Can I Boba Fett? Okay.
I want to know what you did to be able to switch that you can't.
I think you can only switch once. To another character.
Maybe. You will be the next target.
They have to,
Oh, the
you
target
have to
symbol.
eliminate the person. That's why this takes so long. Because I'm like, you keep dying, yet the number of people left does not. That's why everyone came after you that one time.
Oh, what?
So it's not just pure elimination. It's only when you're the target.
Okay. Ray, get out. Yes.
Heroic sacrifice.
Seeing how you went down to 3 left in your thing. So,
Oh, because I was the target.
yeah.
I would like to be able to be.
Maybe you just have to wait a second.
No, because
The button changed on boss. First it was, I think, view abilities, and then it was start.
oh, what the f was that?
You got forced thrown.
I can't. What is going on?
You get Jedi.
Yeah, dude. It's bad news. She is just destroying
I
me.
don't know what is.
Oh.
Oh, this got tossed.
Alright, so watch that. You. See,
Oh, wait. What?
Oh,
I
okay.
was trying to tell you. Don't want to listen.
You're gonna be the next target.
Oh, Boba Fett. Get up on top of
See,
that
this
thing.
is why you guys have to stick together and work together.
There's their target.
Save me, rabbit.
Oh no, run.
Oh, God, I found it too.
Was that you?
Where's my rockets?
There's little rockets.
Whoa! What killed me?
I think we see Jango Fett shoot those up.
What is this?
No, Ray, get over. No, you done.
So is she. She done.
You did get her.
You guys are doing pretty.
Wait, it checks, big toe.
Well, we're.
Yeah, 2 to 4 to left.
Well, now it's attack or defend targets.
Let's go like that.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I was thinking like
Because
target
it
zones.
rotates the targets.
There we go. Really?
Hank stumped your tongue.
I'm doing it. I like this guy, actually.
More than Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, one target.
Oh no.
Well, you're doing some damage.
Got your hands up. Oh wait, wrong button.
I'm the next target.
Oh no. Why don't they like tag? Like if you got the last hit on the target, suddenly you're the target.
Yeah, it could be. It looks like it's some sort of rotation now. But I don't know how to determine it. You are the target.
Oh,
Whoa, buddy! Oh, they
Damn.
got you.
I didn't watch out for me.
Well,
Shame on your
One
team.
more. I have to be.
We don't have to have that on the screen though. We should probably wrap it up.
as I say, we're just
No,
gonna.
We're
no,
over an hour.
It doesn't
for
matter.
sure at this
We can
point.
upload however much we want to upload.
Yeah, I know, but it's got to be bite sized. If it's too long, people won't watch it.
Yeah, I think at this point, we should just thank him. You can keep playing.
Yeah.
Star Wars Battlefront 2. Spend your transactions microly on this.
Or macroly.
Macroly.
It could be.
Macaroni. You should get some macaroni.
We should get some macaroni.
I'm not doing macaroni. I can't do macaroni.
Why?
My diet
I had salad for dinner.
doesn't. What does that have to do
Are
with me?
both so sad.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor. I hate lettuce.
I'm gonna go home and have macaroni.
I can't.
Oh, hate lettuce. Should probably start liking lettuce.
Lettuce.
Damn.
I drink enough water. I don't
Let
know
us
lettuce.
change the subject.
Bazinga.
Let's get pasta this.
I'm slightly ashamed of both of you right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But thank you all, though. We hope this provided you with some insight on what happened this week during the launch of Battlefront 2. And
Maybe a new perspective on the whole paid DLC, microtransaction, pay-to-win, paywall
so
in general.
hope you get a chance to play it and really determine your own opinions and feelings on it, because it is a really good game. Whether you borrow it from a friend, rent it through GameFly type service, Redbox, or just taking a chance and buying it, I personally don't think you'd be disappointed. But again, that's my thought.
You won't be disappointed.
If you like Star Wars and you like shooters,
I was, with all the things that were going on, I was kind of on the fence about getting it. And after actually playing the game, from someone who was skeptical, I actually do agree. You should pick it up.
us too.
Yeah.
No, Star Wars. No, I was on the fence. I was also very skeptical. I
I got
didn't
a
get
badass over here.
I didn't even get to put the controller in my hand so far yet. And,
That's true. You didn't
And,
share.
You told me to play it.
I'm on board. Is the important part of that scenario. I think it's worth the money, honestly. Especially with the way they've updated and changed things, and hey, maybe I won't feel that way in 2 weeks if they put the loot box system back in place and it screws everything up. I don't know, but as of right this minute, I think it's worth it.
I have a digital copy. I'm stuck with the game. So.
Well, that would be it for us tonight. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. The gameplay of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now run out and test it. And I know we're not going to be sponsored anytime soon, but if you're really curious, you don't want to spend all the money on it, try GameFly. It really is. I mean, unless you have a family video around that has PlayStation 4 games or whatever, or a video store,
Xbox One.
or Xbox One, whatever.
PlayStation 1. Excuse me.
We're playing this on the One X.
It was a joke.
But yeah, go out, try it out. Maybe you have a friend that has it and wants to try it, or try it from their place. But definitely give it a shot. Give it a shot. Don't let all of these negativity taint your decision.
Agreed.
Agreed. That being said, I'm Eric the Dead.
Gravity Well.
Lock steady.
And we say good night. We'll do it again.
DNA thanks you. Good night.
Good night.